Samaved Gaur Bhakti Jai Gaur Hari. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled devotees. All glorious assembled Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Shrivanmuktam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kalamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Patakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sangana Raghunathayitam Tam Saivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sayatam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Radha Shri Shakaritam Shri Krishna Karna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopura Kanta Radha Kanta Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishavanam Shri Devi Pranamami Kripa Sindhubhyo Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitanamini Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gauravaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare First of all, thank you so much for joining Srimad Bhagavatam class. But only your unfortunate situation that you have to hear from me, who is not at all qualified to sit on a Vyasasana. You'll come to know at the end of my discussion why it is like that. Because this is very highest subject matter, and especially the topic that we are going to discuss is also like that. So that I am humbly requesting all the devotees here, present here and online, whoever is listening, please give me your blessings so that I can speak for my own purification, so that I can follow these things. We are reading from Canto 4, chapter 14, verse number 18. Yasya Rashtre Pure Chaiva Bhagavan Yajna Purushaha Ijyate Svena Dharmena Janair Varnashraman Vitai Yasya Rashtre Pure Chaiva Bhagavan Yajna Purushaha Ijyate Svena Dharmena Janair Varnashraman Vitai Yasya Rashtre Pure Chaiva Bhagavan Yajna Purushaha Ijyate Svena Dharmena Janair Varnashraman Vitai
Yasya Rashtre Pure Chaiva Bhagavan Yajna Purushaha Ijyate Svena Dharmena Janair Varnashraman Vitai Yasya rashtre pure chaiva
Yasya rashtre pure chaiva
Bhagavan yagna purushaha
Bhagavan yajna purusha
Ijyate svena dharmena
Ijyate svena dharmena
Janair varnashramanvite
Janair varnashramanvite
यस्य राष्ट्रे पुरे चैव
Yasya rashtre pure chaiva
भगवान् यज्ञपुरुष
Bhagavan yajna purusha
इच्छते सेवना धर्मेण
Ijyate svena dharmena
जनिर्वर्णाश्रमाविते
Janair varnashramanvite. What word meaning? Yasya, whose, rashtre, in the state or kingdom, pure, in the cities, cha, also, eva, certainly, Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yajna Purushaha, who is the enjoyer of all sacrifices, Ijyate, he is worshipped, Svena, their own, Dharmena, by occupation, Janai, by the people, Varnashrama, the system of 8 social orders, Anvitai, who follow. Translation and purport by Sivanges Abhicharnarindavaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The king is supposed to be pious, in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observes the system of 8 social orders of Varna and Ashrama, and where all the citizens engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupations. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The state's duty and the citizen's duty are very nicely explained in this verse. The activities of the government head or king, as well as the activities of the citizens, should be so directed that ultimately everyone engages in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The king or government head is supposed to be the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is therefore supposed to see that things go on nicely and that the citizens are situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 varnas and 4 ashramas. In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that unless people are educated or situated in the scientific social order comprised of 4 varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra, and 4 ashramas, Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, society can never be considered a real human society, nor can it make any advancement towards the ultimate goal of human life. It is a duty of the government to see that things go on in terms of Varna and Ashrama, as stated herein. Bhagavan Yajna Purusha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the Yajna Purusha. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 5.29, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. Krishna is the ultimate purpose of all sacrifice. He is also the enjoyer of all sacrifices. Therefore, he is known as Yajna Purusha. The word Yajna Purusha indicates Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna or any personality of Godhead in the category of Vishnu Tattva. In perfect human society, people are situated in the orders of Varna and Ashrama and are engaged in worshipping Lord Vishnu by their respective activities. Every citizen engaged in an occupation renders service by the resultant actions of his activities. That is the perfection of life. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.46, Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatum swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. By worshipping of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all pervading, man can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Thus, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Shudras, and Vaishyas must execute their prescribed duties, as these duties are stated in the Shastras. In this way, everyone can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. The king or government head has to see that the citizens are thus engaged. In other words, the state or the government must not deviate from its duty by declaring that the state is a secular one. which has no interest in whether or not the people advance in Varnashram Dharma. Today, people engaged in government service and people who rule over the citizens have no respect for the Varnashram Dharma. They complacently feel that the state is secular. In such a government, no one can be happy. The people must follow the Varnashram Dharma and the king must see that they are following it nicely. The king is supposed to be pious, in whose state and cities the general populace strictly observes the system of 8 social orders of Varna and Ashrama, and where all citizens engage in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead by their particular occupations. This is the context. I hope everyone is following the context of this sloka, especially how, in absence of Anga. So King Veena is being put as a king by the sages because of there is no one qualified. Because of that, the society is in chaos. Because of that, the rishis, the sages, actually selected him, even though they know that he is a cruel. Even though he is a cruel, they put him as a king. But after he became a king, naturally he is displaying his cruelty. Especially here, the sages decided, because of these activities, the cruelty of this king, it is not good for him and for the citizens. So they decided to have a dialogue with him. Have a discussion and requesting him to change. And that is where these topics, the sages are discussing these topics with the king. And Prabhupada actually gives the present situation, how the current state of affairs, how the king is supposed to be pious. If the king is not pious, he cannot maintain the kingdom. He cannot give the protection to the citizens. Many times, Prabhupada gives this king is supposed to be protecting the citizens. That is how he gets the right to collect the taxes. If he is not giving the protection and still levying the taxes, so that is not good for the king. And also, 1/6 of the reactions of the citizens will be coming to the king. If all the citizens are engaged in the devotional service, ultimate goal, then all the pious activities of the citizens will come to the king. Whereas, if he is not letting that happen, then all the sinful reactions of the citizens, 1/6 of citizens' sinful reactions, will come to the king. Presently, nobody knows this. If they really understand this concept, then they will be careful. Because of Kali Yuga, the Varnashrama system is not executed properly. All the kings from anywhere in the world, there's all democracy. Prabhupada calls it a demon's crazy. Right? So kings are never to be elected in those days. And kings are always subordinate to the sages. They will take the advice of the sages before they do anything. So that's how all the kings are ruling. Especially, I would like to quote one a pastime of Vishwamitra Muni when he came to Ayodhya to request Lord Ramchandra. There's a samvad between Vishwamitra Muni and Dashrath Maharaj. What is the first, two things he asks. First thing is, he says, are your enemies are under control? Are your enemies are under control? And the second is, all the citizens in your kingdom are engaged in the ultimate goal of life. When we meet each other, how is social life? How is, prasad? So many things, will come. But how Vishwamitra Muni is asking, are your enemies are under control? Enemies are under control means the senses of the king must be in control. If the senses are not in control, he is not supposed to be a king. As simple as that. And the supreme goal for every living entity is to render devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And that is what the king is supposed to do in the kingdom. How each one of the citizens are engaged in the devotional service. How you are providing the facilities to render devotional service. In this day and age, we don't even know what is devotional service. The kings do not even have an idea of devotional service. They themselves do not have any etiquettes, any knowledge of the Vedic understanding. They just, some people who are in control of power and money, they rule that. We can see that very clearly. So whimsical, their ideas and their, activities are so whimsical. They don't know what to do. Tomorrow, they got up and one fine day they are in a good mood, they'll take a decision. Isn't it? The repercussions of that decision, they don't think anything like that. How all the kings in the Srimad Bhagavatam, they're all consulting the sages. Can I do this like this? They're all asking questions to the sages before they act, before they take any decision. Because the entire education system is making atheistic, everyone atheistic. His Holiness Bhakti Vasudeva Maharaj was here last week. He was telling, how even the devotees, right? He was telling how kids are convincing parents that chanting is not important. How kids are convincing parents chanting is not important in their life. He was very bold actually. He told many things. What is the purpose of sending them to the schools? To become an engineer and a doctor? And they say, I don't have any time to chant. He was telling that so many people. He was telling, what are you taking care? How are you making sure you are convincing your kid to chant? How much time you are spending time in convincing your kids? How much quality time you are giving to make sure they understand the real purpose of life? Unfortunately, I don't have an answer. It's really, important when it comes to the two things here: the responsibility of king and the responsibility of the citizens. Two things Prabhupada is writing very clearly here. The responsibility of the king in the sense, in the family also, every parent is a king, every teacher is a king, in the same role. How we are engaging our family in the Krishna conscious activities. What is it that we are not able to give this to our family members? It's telling basically to spend quality time to convince them, to educate them every day, so that they can understand the real purpose of life is to engage in devotional service along with their material activities. If that is not done, everyone is going to become an engineer, or a doctor, or a lawyer, or whatever, a businessman. But there is no purpose of it, right? There is no goal for that. Kids can engage in so many ways. I've seen many, even in my own family members, extended family members. They strive to become a doctor. They strive to become going to Stanford, MITs. That is their goal. After getting so many problems, they call me and then they'll ask me, can you please talk to them? What can I talk after they go to college? I can't do anything. From the childhood, if we don't give that information, the real purpose of life, there is absolutely no possibility of them being in the Krishna consciousness movement. We want to be getting the blessings in their material activities. I'm talking to myself, whatever their material activities. But we don't want to give this culture. Very, very nice books. Becoming a devotee of Krishna. Part 1, Part 2 series. Very nice for kids actually. A lot of things kids can learn from their topics. Gratitude, humility. They don't even have a gratitude. This is really very astonishing. We always have this discussion from the morning till evening, how much you are getting from others, from parents, from teachers. We always have a friendly talk. How much we are getting? Did we ever talk with them on a regular basis? Because if they don't have gratitude, my understanding is they will never get devotional service. Because they are taking everything for granted. Everything. How much mother sacrificed, how much father sacrificed, how much teachers sacrificed for them, how much spiritual master is sacrificing for them. They don't have any idea. So kings here, they are meant to do so many sacrifices. So many sacrifices for the welfare of the citizens. Ambarish Maharaj, Yudhishthir Maharaj, Rantidev. Look at all these great kings. When it comes to our acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, just visited all these places recently. How much sacrificed for all of us. All the acharyas have sacrificed so much. So the leaders, the kings in the society are performing so many sacrifices for the welfare of the devotees and citizens. Especially how much we can learn from the pastimes of Rantidev. Rantidev is, the whole family is fasting. Is fasting for 48 days. 48 days he was fasting. And after the fasting is about to finish, a plate of prasad comes to him. Right before he is honoring the prasad, a Brahmana comes. A Brahmana comes for, I'm hungry. When Brahmana comes for hungry, he didn't say anything. He immediately gave the prasad. You can eat how much while you are satisfied. So the Brahmana ate nicely. And then after that, after the Brahmana left, his family also took some portion of the prasad. And when it comes to his time to honor the prasad, his portion, then immediately a Shudra comes, a low class man. He says, I am hungry. Then immediately he didn't have any second thought. He just gave that also. After the Shudra person left, and then another person, a dogs, he has his own dogs, he brought dogs also. He gave to them, the dogs also fed nicely. And all he left is with a little water. When we have this little water, then what do? At least I can drink water and satisfy. Rantidev is about to drink that water. And then a Chandala comes with, I'm so thirsty that I can't live without that water. Rantidev is not having a second thought, he just gave that water also to this Chandala. And then he is praying to the Supreme Lord. See, this Rantidev is a king. He has everything. But he is completely giving shelter to the citizens, the devotees, whoever is coming. How can one give shelter to all? There is no distinction for him. He is treating equally everyone. How he is doing it? By taking shelter himself first. First he is taking shelter and then he is giving shelter. So the responsibility of a king here is to first take the shelter of the Supreme Lord fully. When a king or a parent or a teacher is taking shelter of the Supreme Lord fully, then only we can give the shelter to others, family members, students, or citizens. We try to avoid that. We try to keep us away from taking shelter continuously. Once in a while we take shelter when things are not happening well. But when things are happening well, start talking to myself. So there is no point of taking shelter. Everything is going on nicely. My job is going on nicely. My health is going on nicely. Why should we take shelter? We don't have that mentality. We have to continuously pray and take shelter of the Supreme Lord for giving this opportunity after millions and millions of lifetimes having this human life. Just perform your occupational duty and realize the Supreme Lord. Varnashram Dharma is created by the Supreme Lord. Chaturvarnam Maya system. He himself created. Unless we practice this, the society can never be happy. It is very difficult in this day and age. One time we were having a discussion. When we are here, especially coming from India, so many people. You cannot even step in front of Radha Madhava. You cannot even step in front of Radha Shyam Sundar. Not even a moment my son is telling, I cannot breathe. So that many people. I was thinking you can take darshan of Radha Gopishan all away every day. And whenever you want, you can serve them. And I don't cultivate this habit of taking shelter of them. Today is a very auspicious day of Nitai Patita Bhavan Gaur Hari's anniversary, appearance anniversary. So, you're all going to hear the nectar in the evening from His Gracious Kishore Prabhu. So, they appeared here. All the sacrifices, Acharyas have done so many sacrifices. The Supreme Lord Himself have done the sacrifice of taking the sannyas. And I first heard, this is in 2007, when I first heard about Lord Chaitanya, I could not understand what kind of a personality is he. Just because if somebody is offering dandavats to a sannyasi, the living entities get the bhakti. For that reason, the Supreme Lord is taking sannyas, renouncing everything in his life and taking sannyas. I was like so much caught up with that statement. How can he do this? Supreme Lord has done so much of sacrifice for all of us. He comes, the fourth chapter, how he explains, he comes every millennium. But why he comes? Not to kill the miscreants, is there, that is external reasons. But to have that loving exchanges with the devotees. And to give that same love, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared and Lord Nityananda appeared. They have done so much for all of us. And we visited the Ekachakradam is, how Lord Nityananda Prabhu is, when we went there, it's so much peaceful. We got the water, Sarvati Kund water, probably tomorrow we'll get it. Where Lord Nityananda actually invoked all the holy rivers. There, the Sarvati Kund. How much they have done, how much Lord Nityananda Prabhu keeping a grass in his mouth and then falling at the feet of everyone. Going to door, they knock the door, and as soon as the owner opens the door, they don't see anybody. By the time they open the door, they are already at their feet. Lord Nityananda Prabhu, falling at their feet and asking, begging to please stand. So when we understand all these things, how much fortunate we are being in this state, especially there is no order, varnashrama order. The only thing that we can do is chanting the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. All the kings exhibited, they sacrificed so much, and we have wonderful examples following the Acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, into Ultadanga, birthplace of Srila Prabhupada, all renovated nicely nowadays. So you can see all the places of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Both of them left in Kolkata. They left their bodies in Kolkata. So, how much Srila Prabhupada sacrificed? Having no money, just 2 heart attacks. How much he has taken shelter of the Supreme Lord. This is really wonderful. But many times we think they are the acharyas, they can do. But actually speaking, all the devotees, when we went to yatras, all the devotees done lots and lots of sacrifices to just serve others. There is in Vrindavan, 12,000 20,000 people registered and 14,000, 15,000 people are there. And everyone is trying to serve. One thing that they were explaining about how all the chapatis were made handmade chapatis. So one time His Holiness Radha Samara visited Gurudwara, and they make all the machines, right? Chapatis are coming from the machines. So many chapatis are coming, and they asked for sitting for prasad, and His Holiness sat for prasad, and then they make the chapatis. Devotees make the chapatis with hand, and then they are serving him. So Maharaj asked, "What is the reason? Why you are not giving the chapatis made from the machine? Why you are making it separately?" And they told, if we love somebody so much, then we want to make with our own hands, not to make from the machines. Maharaj took that principle and he told this to the Yatra committee, whoever is. And that's how all from 4 a.m. they start cooking chapatis with. So it's a lot of sacrifices have done from our teachers or devotees. Just to understand this one thing, the responsibility of a parent, a teacher, a king, or any administrative person, how these kings have executed, they have not kept themselves anything, and they are ready to sacrifice their life because of all the wonderful exemplary devotees here at ISKCON Parliament, all the brahmacharis, especially Graceful Kishore Prabhu and all other brahmacharis in the temple. How much they sacrifice for all of us. So much they do. And also all the devotees, every festival, everything that, whatever services that you are doing, everything is done as a sacrifice. Because of that sacrifice, someone is getting the benefits. So, to do that first, as Rantidev is exhibiting this principle of surrendering himself first, taking shelter first completely. When we take shelter completely, then only we can exhibit or follow in their footsteps. In their footsteps, doing sacrifices for the welfare of other devotees, other people. So there is absolutely no system in society that explains all this. Especially this talks about scientific process of varnashram system. When we execute all these things, follow the varnashram system, first one should be peaceful. If we are not peaceful, then even in rendering devotional service, we should be always peaceful, no matter what happens. Sometimes there will be lows and highs, but first thing is, no one should steal our peace. Everything is the Supreme Lord's will. There is nothing that can go beyond His will. So whatever happens in our life. So, especially how a leader should be controlled in his senses. How Vishwamitra Muni is asking Dashrath Maharaj, first a leader should have controlled his senses before he is protecting his members. Without that, it is not possible to make any progress for himself or for his members. That's all I would like to So please forgive me if I've spoken anything wrong or above my adhikar. I'm just repeating whatever I have heard, and especially from our acharyas and senior devotees. Please give me your blessing so that I can live up to this, what I spoke. Being in the roles, different roles, in the temple or in the home, I request everyone to please pray for me so that I can follow. Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you very much, Nandaniketan Prabhu. Nice class. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.